Brahmagyanachimandasya Ganaganan Salakaya Chaksusumritayena Tasma Shri Gurave Namah. Sri Chaitanya Manobishta Sthāpayitvā Bhutale Sayarupa Kadamaya Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sutam Padakamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavascha Sri Rupam Sakajata Sahagana Raghunatha Vitantam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijanam Saitam Sri Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Kṛṣṇa Pada Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhavitamscha He Kṛṣṇa Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kantu Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gorange Radha Vrindamanishwari Vishabhanu Sutadevi Panamami Hari Priye Bhancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripasindhivevacha Patitanam Pavana Bhebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Sri Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadara Siva Shari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Kṛṣṇa Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Anandalila Maya Vigraya Imabada Vichavi Sundaraja Tasma Maha Prema Rasapataya Chitachandaya Nama Namasate Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Chan Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. So it's a continuation of our this nightly discussion of the Bhagavad Gita. Now we are in the first chapter, which is Arjuna's Vishada Yoga, or the dejection of Arjuna. So the text that we are going to read today is after Arjuna had asked Kṛṣṇa to show him the armies on both sides, the Kauravas and the Pandavas. So now, after this, after Kṛṣṇa shows Arjuna the armies, now Arjuna will start expressing the doubts about the usefulness of this war. So it's going to be very, very interesting. Very interesting is there. Arjuna, of course, has been a great person, a great devotee of the Lord also. But saying that this battle is not necessary, but it doesn't mean that he was not capable of fighting. He more than capable of fighting this war, because why? It's Dharma Yudh. It's a holy war. This is a real holy war. Bharata war is a real holy war. Nowadays, especially in some other religions, they say they want to fight a holy war, And their idea of holy war is that when someone doesn't agree with them, that they want to declare war against the person just because the person do not agree with your idea of God worship. So therefore, let me take my weapon against you and fight you and kill you. But that is not holy war. Holy war was presided by God Himself. God Himself was here. He determined what is holy. What is holy war. So I'm going to be discussing some of this. So the text today, I'm going to be covering two texts. Text number 23 and 24. That's what I was given. Yesterday was 22, right? Yesterday? Okay. So today I will cover text 23 and text 24. So we can all read together. Yatsyamanam avikshriham ya eti trasamagataha datarastrasya dubhude yudhe priya chikisava yatsyamanam aviksheham ya etetra samagataha Dhritarashtrasya dubhude yudhe priya chikissavam yatsyamanam abhiksheham yaetetra samāgataha Dhritarashtrasya dubhude Yude priya chikissabaha. You can. Yaetyatra samāgata. Dhritarashtrasya dubhude. Yude priya chikissabaha. Yotsyamananavekseham ya etetra samāgataha Dhritarashtrasya durbuddhe yudhe priya chikirshavaha Yotsyamananavekseham Yaetyatra samāgata Dhritarashtrasya dubhude Yude priya chikissabaha Yotsyamanam aveksheham Yaetyatra samāgata Dhritarashtrasya dubhude Yude priya chikissabaha. Yotsyamanam, those who will be fighting. Avekshe, let me see. Aham, I, ye, who, ete, those, atra, here, samāgata, assembled, Dhritarashtrasya, for the son of Dhritarashtra, dubhude, evil-minded, yudhe, in the fight, priya, well, chikissabaha, wishing. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki. Let me see those who have come here to fight, wishing to please the evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra. Purport. It was an open secret that Duryodhana wanted to usurp the kingdom of the Pandavas by evil plans in collaboration with his father, Dhritarashtra. Therefore, all persons who had joined the side of Duryodhana must have been birds of the same feather. Arjuna wanted to see them on the battlefield before the fight was begun, just to learn who they were. But he had no intention of proposing peace negotiations with them. It was also a fact that he wanted to see them to make an estimate of the strength which he had to face, although he was quite confident of victory because Kṛṣṇa was sitting by his side. So I thank everyone for being here this evening, for coming to listen to the Bhagavad Gita. So Lord Kṛṣṇa here driving the chariot of Arjuna. So Kṛṣṇa is Partha Sarathi. Partha Sarathi. the charioteer of Arjuna. So in the previous verse, so Arjuna had said, it says senayor ubhayor madhye sthāpayitvā me. I cheated that yes, Kṛṣṇa, please drive the chariot into the middle of both sides, the both opposing side of the armies. I want to see them. Please place your chariots in the middle of this Kauravas and Pandavas. And of course, the chariot was not an ordinary chariot, of course, because this chariot was actually given by Agnidev. So it was not an ordinary chariot. Like in the next verse, it's going to mention, ratha-uttamam, that the finest of all the chariots, because the chariot was given by Agnidev, and the driver of the chariot is Lord Kṛṣṇa himself. As we have learned in the past, that when prior to the fighting, prior to the beginning of the battle, when the negotiation was going on, and then it was concluded that there's going to be war, because since the Kauravas, the Yodhana and his friends they were not willing to negotiate with the Pandavas to return their kingdom to them. So that time Kṛṣṇa was in Guḍākā. I think it was in Guḍākā. Then Arjuna and Yodhana, they both went to Kṛṣṇa to solicit, the help. Because after all, Kṛṣṇa is both sides, the Pandavas and the Kauravas, they are relative of Kṛṣṇa. They have relation. The relation is there. Because Arjuna is Kṛṣṇa's friend, Kṛṣṇa Arjuna, and Yodhana himself, he also have relationship with Kṛṣṇa. Yodhana is Kṛṣṇa's, because Samba was married to Yodhana's daughter, so the relationship is there. So therefore, Yodhana also went to Guḍākā to meet with Kṛṣṇa, to seek the help. Okay, we need help. We need the armies to help us in the upcoming battle. So that time, when both Arjuna and Yodhana, when they are gone into the Kṛṣṇa's room chamber, at that time Kṛṣṇa was taking rest. He was lying on the bed. So Arjuna went inside and he went to sit at Kṛṣṇa's lotus feet. At the foot of Kṛṣṇa, and Yodhana, when he came into the room, he sat on the bed, he sat on the side of the bed, because he was so puffed up, he think himself to be on the same level as Kṛṣṇa. So anyway, when Kṛṣṇa opened his eye, he saw Arjuna first, and then of course, he saw Yodhana, and then he asked both of them, "What have you come here for?" So both said that, okay, we want your help for this battle. We want your help for this upcoming battle that is coming. So Lord Kṛṣṇa said, okay, two things. I've got my army, undefeatable army, called Narayan Sena, and then there's myself. On one side will be my army, and on one side will be myself. But I'm not going to carry any weapon. I'm not going to fight myself. I won't carry any weapon. So you can make a choice. So, and of course, Yodhana was first thinking that maybe, because Kṛṣṇa saw Arjuna first, so he was thinking that maybe Arjuna will take the army of Kṛṣṇa, because Narayan Sena is a very powerful army. And but Arjuna is Kṛṣṇa's devotee. A devotee will forgo the whole world to, it's only with Kṛṣṇa only. Nothing matters for a devotee except the Lord, except Kṛṣṇa. So Arjuna said, my dear Lord, I will select you only. I cannot select anything else. You are my only choice, nothing else. So, of course, Duryodhana was very, very happy. He said, oh, I'm going to get this big army of Kṛṣṇa. He was so happy. He said, oh, sure, I'll be very, very happy with the army. I'll be happy with the army. So he selected the army, and Kṛṣṇa selected, and the Arjuna selected the Kṛṣṇa. And then, of course, the Kṛṣṇa said, I'm going to be your charioteer. Actually, Arjuna requested Kṛṣṇa to be his charioteer, that, my dear Lord, kindly be my charioteer to drive me through this battlefield. And of course, we know that a devotee want to serve his Lord. Want to serve his Lord. A devotee will never request the Lord for anything, because they are the Lord's servant. But sometimes, due to love is there, sometimes the Lord, sometimes he serves his devotee. This is due to love. This is because of love. Just like in Vrindavan, when Nanda Maharaj, sometimes he will ask Kṛṣṇa to go and bring his shoe. So Kṛṣṇa will go, and as a baby, as a small boy, so Kṛṣṇa will go to the other room, and then we carry Nanda Maharaj's shoe on his head and bring the shoe to Nanda Maharaj. So, and of course, those who are not of the caliber of such devotees, they be wondering, how come this is God? All the demigods, they cannot even stand before him. They cannot even stand in front of him. The fear personified is afraid of him. Now we see that he became a menial servant of his devotee. So that's why one devotee he said, I forgot the Sanskrit word, he said that many people, they are worshipping Upanishad, they are worshipping the different form of God, but I want to worship Nanda Maharaj. Why? Because the Supreme Lord is playing in his backyard. So therefore, let me worship Nanda Maharaj. Kṛṣṇa is playing in his backyard, and then Nanda Maharaj will be asking him, bring me this, bring me that, bring me that. So, on this battlefield of Kurukshetra, Arjuna is requesting Kṛṣṇa that those who have come here to fight, those who have come here, those who have assembled here to fight, I want to see them. And especially those who have come here to please Duryodhana, you refer to him as devotee. Devotee means someone who has got a crooked intelligence. Devotee. He said, such a heavy-minded person. Duryodhana committed so much atrocity to the Pandavas, committed a lot of atrocities. If you have read Bharata, you know all kind of things which the Pandavas, which the Kauravas, which they did the Pandavas. From their, childhood, so much atrocity were committed to the Pandavas. They were poisoned. They were sent to the house of Shelak, which was the house which is a flammable house, because they were just wanted to get rid of them. Why? Because Duryodhana was so envious of the Pandavas, because he knew that Yudhishthira Maharaj, being the firstborn of the dynasty, he's supposed to be the king, but he wanted to be the king. And because, even though, yes, the Dhritarashtra was elder to Pandu, but Dhritarashtra was blind, so he could not be the king because he was blind. So therefore, only Pandu could be the king. But Pandu, for some reason, he could not rule. He could not rule for some reason, because he had got some disease. So he had to be in the forest. And while he was in the forest, he committed some fault, and he was cursed by a sage that if you try to be intimate with your wife, you're going to lose your life. Anyway, somehow Pandu he died. why the Pandavas, why they were still young boy, they were very young, like 5-6 years old. So Queen Kunti, she had to take care of 5 fatherless boys. Long story, of course. But when they reached the palace in Hastinapur, the Duryodhana and his uncle Shakuni, they just wanted to get rid of the Pandavas. They wanted to kill them. Because by killing them will be the only way by which Duryodhana can be the ruler. Even though Dhritarashtra, he knew very well that what his son was doing was not good. I mean, just like, Draupadi was almost stripped naked in the assembly. So many things, so many atrocities, which were committed by the Kauravas towards the Pandavas. And of course, both of them, they are all Kauravas actually. The Pandavas, they are also Kauravas because they are descendants of the same, Maharaj Kuru. But just to make some differentiation between the two families, so therefore it's okay. So the son of Pandus, they are called Pandavas. And then the son of Dhritarashtra, they are called the Kauravas. But they are both Kauravas. And their grandfather was Bhishmadev. Bhishmadev was their grandfather, Pitamaha. So this Dhritarashtra, he knew very well what his son was doing is not good. But because of his undue affection, which he has for his son, especially the other, because of the affection which he has, he could not really stop this atrocity which was being committed by his son. Even though Vidura told him several times that this is your son, get rid of him. What he's doing is not good. Get rid of this. It's going to be the destroyer of your dynasty. But still, Dhritarashtra would not listen because of the, affection. Let's say fatherly affection, which he has for his son. So therefore, Arjuna referred to him here as the Buddha, somebody with evil mentality. So coming to the battle was not something that Arjuna, the Pandavas, actually wanted. But somehow, they've come on this battlefield, this battle of Kurukshetra, and Arjuna is asking Kṛṣṇa to please place his chariot in the middle of both parties. So you want to see who have come here to fight, and especially those, who want to please Duryodhana. Those who are here to please him. Yude priya chikishava. So those who are coming here to please him, so he want to say that. So as Purport mentioned here, therefore all persons who had joined the side of Duryodhana must have been the birds of the same feather, which means they also have the same mentality, the same kukuri mentality as Duryodhana has. And of course now there is the uncle of the Pandavas, the king of Madras. What is his name? King Madhye was his name? Maharaj Madhye, is it Madra, because Madra was the second wife of Pandu. So there's Madri and then there's Madra. I think his name was Madra. Huh? Madri. Yeah. So anyway, he came with his army to fight on behalf of the Pandavas. After all, his two nephews were there, Sahadev and Nakul. They were there. They are Pandavas. So he had come to fight on their behalf. But when he came to the battlefield, when he was arriving, so Duryodhana, he played a trick. Because Duryodhana knew that, he was coming. Because Madhye was the big, big warrior, Maharathi. So what he did was that Duryodhana, he made a very big reception for him, and a lot of entertainment and all that. So because of this reception which was accorded, because when he was coming to the site, he didn't know who had organized this assembly. He didn't know. So King Madhye was very, very happy. He said, "Oh, whoever organized this reception, I'm going to fight on their behalf. I'm going to fight on behalf of." So he was thinking that Yudhishthira Maharaj had organized the reception. So he was thinking that way. So he said, he made his promise that I'm going to fight on behalf of whoever organized this reception, thinking that it was Yudhishthira Maharaj. And then Duryodhana came. He said, "Oh, I'm happy that you've come." So when Duryodhana came, so King Madhye was so disappointed. He said, "Oh, it's you who have organized this." But he already made his promise. Because the Kshatriyas, when they make a promise, they cannot go back to their promise. So he said, "Well, I've made a promise to fight on behalf of whoever organized this reception. I made the promise, but it doesn't mean that my heart is going to be there. It's going to be there." So when he saw Yudhishthira Maharaj, he told him, he said, "Oh, Vijaya Bhava, may the victory be yours. I've made a promise, but at the same time, and I came to know about the trick of Duryodhana, but because I've made a promise, I have to keep my promise. But at the same time, my heart is with you." He told Yudhishthira Maharaj that way. So Yudhishthira Maharaj, it's not, he wasn't attached that, his uncle has come and his uncle is going to fight on behalf of somebody else. He's going to fight on behalf of his enemy. In the Vedic times, the principle of the principle of words is is the most important. So in this way he came and then the fighting. So the fight was gone. So not everyone was of evil mind who are on the side of Duryodhana. After all, on his side were, grandfather Bhishmadev was there, Dronacharya was there, Kripacharya was there, many other great personalities were there, But they were compelled to fight on behalf of Duryodhana. They were compelled to fight because he represents the throne of Hastinapur, which Dhritarashtra was occupying. So therefore, because of that throne, so therefore Bhishmadev, Dronacharya, Kripacharya, so they fought on behalf of Dronacharya. On behalf of Duryodhana. But of course, at the end of the Gita, when Sañjaya said that, Yatra Yogeshwaro Kṛṣṇa, Yatra Pato Danodara, Tatra Sri Vijayo Moti, Dhruvaniti Mati, remember that whenever there's Kṛṣṇa and whenever there's Arjuna, there will always be victory. So Sañjaya was telling, Dhritarashtra that look, wherever Kṛṣṇa is and wherever Arjuna is, the victory must be theirs. That's where the victory is going to be. That's why everything is going to be there. Because, Sañjaya, he was the one narrating the episode of the episode. Because he was given the vision to see what was going on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Before he was given this vision by Vyasadeva, they could see. So it was like... nowadays we have this, live WhatsApp, this video camera nowadays. So you can see live, just like now as we are speaking now, we are on the live TV. People can see us everywhere. So Sañjaya was able to see what is going on in the battle of Kṛṣṇa. So he was narrating all the events to Dhritarashtra. So Sañjaya knew, he said, look, my dear Dhritarashtra, you should know that victory is not going to be by your side. Because now, in the beginning, when Arjuna requested Kṛṣṇa to take the chariot to the middle of the both armies. So Dhritarashtra was thinking that maybe Arjuna wants to make a compromise. Maybe he wants to do some negotiation that, okay, maybe we should not fight and all that, So he was thinking maybe Arjuna just want to make a compromise. But it wasn't the case. His intention was not to make a compromise. Because the battle has been decided, so there is no question of a compromise, no more negotiation. Because all the negotiations were made previously. So much negotiation were made, so much plea were made to the Kauravas that give the Pandavas some place to rule. Let them rule a place. They are Kshatriyas. They are meant to be the rulers. Give them a place to rule. Give them, at least if you don't want to give them the kingdom, at least give them some village to rule. Still, Kauravas said no. Duryodhana and his friends, they said no. He said, we will not even give them a place to even put needle. That's how stubborn, that's how demoniac they were. He said, we will not even give them not only a place to put needle on the ground. We will not even give them. And then, so even when Kṛṣṇa himself, he went himself to negotiate himself. Kṛṣṇa went to Hastinapur to negotiate. Still, they will not listen. So therefore Kṛṣṇa said, okay, there's going to be war. There'll be fighting. That's the only way. And of course, this war, because it was a big war, that's why it's called Dharma Yudh. It was the war that was meant to get rid of all the demoniac elements, because that was the reason why the Lord Kṛṣṇa comes. It says, Yada Yada Dhamasya Glani Bhavati Bharata, that he comes whenever there is predominance of irreligious principles. And the Parishnaya Sadhuna, Tadatmana Sujama, he said Paritnaya, he said that to protect the sadhus and to annihilate the miscreant, I come, Sambhavami Yuge Yuge, I come age after age. So therefore, to annihilate the irreligious elements, so therefore this battle of Kurukshetra was arranged by the Lord himself. So all the irreligious elements, they all came from all over the world and they all gathered on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. They all gathered there. It was estimated that there was some 640 million people were there. 640 million, that's a lot of people. World War II, how many people died in World War II? How many people died? I think maybe 6 million? Huh? Not that many, 6 million. Huh? Yeah, around 65 million? No, 65 million? 65. World War II?
No, not the World War II, in the Bharata.
Oh, Bharata says something like 640 million. 640. That's what I read somewhere. Anyway, it's still more than World War II. And this war was meant to get rid of all the irreligious elements. The war was meant for that. So, but at the same time, the beauty of this war is that Kṛṣṇa was able to speak Bhagavad Gita. Because without this, Kṛṣṇa spoke the Bhagavad Gita in the middle of this battle, this war. Which is also another kind of allegory that, yes, this material world is a constant battle for us. It's a constant battle. So therefore, and it's difficult, and it's constant battle. We have to keep on swimming in the deadly waves of the ocean of materialistic existence, in the deadly waves. And so how do we navigate this ocean of materialistic existence? How do we navigate it? So therefore, the good wind is required. Favorable wind is required. Favorable boat is required in order to navigate a very horrendous ocean. So therefore, the last instruction of the Bhagavad Gita is actually there, whereby by hearing the message of the Bhagavad Gita, we can really cross over the ocean of this materialistic existence by constantly hearing the message of the Gita. Why? Because it's coming from the mouth of the Lord Shri himself. So here, and of course, as I said earlier, that Arjuna requesting Kṛṣṇa to drive his chariot because Arjuna is the Lord's pure devotees. The Lord's pure devotees. So out of love, the Lord was ready to carry out the instruction of his own devotees. So I read text 24. Sañjaya uvāca, evam ukto hṛṣīkeśo, Guḍākeśena Bharata, senayor ubhayor madhye, sthāpayitvā rathottamam. Sañjaya said, O descendant of Bharata, having thus been addressed by Arjuna, Lord Kṛṣṇa drew up the fine chariots in the midst of the armies of both parties. In this verse, Arjuna is referred to as Guḍākeśa. Guḍākā means sleep, and one who conquers sleep is called Guḍākeśa. Sleep also means ignorance. So Arjuna conquered both sleep and ignorance because of his friendship with Kṛṣṇa. As a great devotee of Kṛṣṇa, he could not forget Kṛṣṇa even for a moment, because that is the nature of a devotee. Either in waking or in sleep, a devotee of the Lord can never be free from thinking of Kṛṣṇa's name, form, qualities, and pastimes. Thus, a devotee of Kṛṣṇa can conquer both sleep and ignorance simply by thinking of Kṛṣṇa constantly. This is called Kṛṣṇa consciousness or samādhi. As hṛṣīkeśo, or the director of the senses and mind of every living entity, Kṛṣṇa could understand Arjuna's purpose in placing the chariot in the midst of the armies. Thus, he did so and spoke as follows. So Arjuna is referred to here as Guḍākeśa. Guḍākeśa means someone who has conquered sleep. If you conquer sleep, then you become very alert. It mentioned that the Goswamis of Vrindavan, when they came here to Vrindavan, and they were following the orders of Sri Chaitanya Prabhu, that they were so absorbed in their Krishna conscious activities that they will do their devotional activity like chanting, writing, excavating the place of pilgrimage. They do that for about 22 hours a day. And the remaining 2 hours, that's what they use for taking care of their body, eating or sleeping. Only 2 hours. You can just imagine. Even sometimes, that's even difficult sometimes. It's even difficult. Which means technically, they are constantly engaged, in devotional service, practically 24 hours a day. So they have conquered sleep. Guḍākeśa. And Bharata, Lakshman, who was the Lord Ramachandra's brother, he was also called Guḍākeśa because when the Lord Ram, when he was going to the forest, when he was going to exile, along with Sita, then Lakshman, of course, was going. The Lakshman, he prayed to Nidra Devi. There's a goddess of sleep, Nidra Devi. So there's a goddess who's in charge of all our sleep. So he prayed to Nidra Devi that she should not allow him to sleep. He doesn't want to sleep because he wants to be able to guard Lord Ram 24 hours a day. So he doesn't want to sleep. So therefore he asked the Nidra Devi to grant him this benediction that he will not sleep for the entire time that Lord Ram would be in the forest, would be in the exile. So the exile was like 14 years, is it? So which means the whole time, Lakshman did not sleep the whole time, the whole 14 years, as you can just imagine. So he was called Guḍākeśa also. So a person who has conquered sleep is called Guḍākeśa. So Arjuna was a Guḍākeśa. Now, how he conquered sleep, I have to get that in the Bharata. But and of course the specific meaning of sleep is also ignorance. As like Purport mentioned here in the Purport, that sleep is also means ignorance. Because we as a conditioned soul, we are always asleep. We are always asleep to our spiritual interest. In the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Kṛṣṇa told Arjuna, he said, Yanisha Savabhutanam, Tasya Jagriti, what's that verse in the Yanisha Savabhutanam?
Tasya Jagriti Sañjaya.
Yeah, Tasya Jagriti Sañjaya. Then what's the third line? Yasa Jagriti Bhutani. Yeah. So this is there in the chapter 2. I cannot get it here. That the time of sleep, while all living entity are sleeping, so those entities, those personalities, let me see if I can find it here. Chapter 2.
2.40.
2.40?
40.
Okay. That's good. You're a Gita scholar. Is it 2.40? I don't think so. 40s and happy common also. It should be in the 20s. Let me just check here. Yanisha Savabhutani, one of my favorite verse. Yanisha Savabhutani. This is when the Lord was talking about the. Did you find it?
Yes, 69.
Huh?
69.
69, okay. So text 69. Yeah. Yanisha Savabhutanam Tasham Jagriti Samyami Yasham Jagrati Bhutani Sanisha Pashyati Mune. So, which means there's always two types of people in this world. Those who are deeply in the mode of ignorance, and those who are Muni, the sage, or the self-realized persons. So he mentioned here, what is night for all beings is the time of awakening for the self-controlled. And the time of awakening for all beings is night for the introspective sage. Just like the materialists, those who are absorbing material consciousness, they will spend their whole time, the day They will spend the day walking, and then the night they engage. They will use it in engaging in sense gratification, drinking alcohol, illicit sex, so many things like that. You know, just like for example, like the devotees will come to Mangalati every day, all these things. By that time, those who are materialistic absorbed, that time they are deeply asleep, because drinking all night and to glorify their senses, so they fall into deep sleep. But the sages, the money, introspective sage, as Lord Krishna says, they use that time for their, for spiritual purposes. So, in this case, as Prabhupada was mentioning here, that the slave of a devotee is never ignorance of his relationship with Krishna. A devotee is never forgetful of Krishna. Just like we have in Krishna consciousness, we have two rules: always remember Krishna and never forget him. Never forget him. That's the two rules in the nectar of devotion. Srila Rupa Goswami, he had written that one should always remember Krishna, and one should never forget him. Which means always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. Two rules. Don't forget, always remember, and don't forget. So which means a devotee is always, 24 hours a day, a devotee is always Krishna conscious. He's always practicing Krishna consciousness 24 hours a day. And a devotee cannot tolerate a moment without a moment of forgetfulness of Krishna. A devotee cannot tolerate that. He said that as a devotee, he could not forget Krishna even for a moment, because that is the nature of a devotee. Either in waking or in sleep, a devotee of the Lord can never be free from thinking of Krishna's name, form, qualities, and pastimes. Just like many of us, we've come here to either speak Bhagavad Gita or to hear Bhagavad Gita. Why have you come here? We could have been in front of Doordarshan television, watching some new soap operas, or watching some games. We could have been doing that and having fun, just like this weekend in America. I think they play what we call a Super Bowl in America. It's a very big weekend. Sometimes I know that Super Bowl, So like a big so-called celebration of sports, But a devotee will not waste his time trying to gratify their so-called senses in wasting time in front of TV watching sports or things like that. No, they spend their time hearing about Krishna, talking about Krishna, and enlightening one another about Krishna. So therefore, devotees, they are always free from the misery of materialistic existence. They're free from that. Sthāpayitvā madhye samvidu bhavantarikana rasenakata tajoshana apavagavatmani surarati bhakti anukamisiti. So this is Lord Kapila telling his mother that yes, my devotees, when they get together, what did they do? They talk about me. They discuss my activities. They talk about my pastimes. And because of that, they become free from all the troubles of materialistic existence. Tajoshana apavagavatmani. Apavaga. There's pavaga and then there's apavaga. Pavaga means the troubles of materialistic existence. And apavaga means the freedom of that, from that trouble of materialistic existence. So devotees, they remember Krishna. How? By always talking about Krishna with each other. That's how they remember Krishna. And the gopis, they also said the same thing. The gopi, what did the gopis say? Tavakata mitatapta jivana, kavibi uditan kamasapa. So the gopi is saying that, oh Krishna, talks about you, give life. Tabakata mita tapta jivana kavi bihuditam kama shabam sabana mangala sudinatatam bhuviginantiye burida jana. Is it that the devotees that it talks about Krishna, it gives life to everyone, it gives one's life. It gives life to everyone, to all living entities. And the great sages, they say that yes, this is the method by which one can be free from sins, from all the trouble of materialistic existence. So therefore, talks about Krishna is very auspicious. It's Shravana Mangala, to hear about Krishna is very auspicious. And it's very soothing, very, sweet to hear. And then the Gopi, they are saying, actually, because talking about Krishna is so great, he said that those who preach about Krishna, they are the greatest welfare worker in the whole world. They are the greatest charity worker, those who talk about Krishna. So if you're a devotee preacher, you are doing the most beneficial activities to the humanity if you preach to Krishna. So which means, whoever you meet, you shall tell them about Krishna. Never at time you don't tell anyone about Krishna. It doesn't matter. You don't have to be in full knowledge. Just like Prabhupada was always talking about one young girl. Her name was Saraswati. That time she was the daughter of Malati Mataji. The girl was I think she was about 3 years old or something. So that time, this girl, she will go to people, and then she will say, "Do you know Krishna?" And then she will say, "Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead." That's what she knows. She will go to someone and say, "Do you know Krishna?" If the person said no, then she will say, "Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead." So Prabhupada said, this is preaching. This is preaching. That you don't have to be in full knowledge. No matter what you know, just say, okay, this is Krishna. You are part and parcel of Krishna. You are meant to serve Krishna. You see. So therefore, Prabhupada said in this purport, he said that a devotee can conquer ignorance, sleep and ignorance, simply by thinking of Krishna constantly. This is called Krishna consciousness, how to think of Krishna 24 hours a day. This is the method of Krishna consciousness. And how to think about him? Always chanting his name. We read Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, associated with the devotees. Never allow a moment to be idle. So in this way, we will always be blissful in this way. So anyway, this is a very, very nice description here of Arjuna asking Krishna to place his chariot in the middle of the both parties, the both groups of warriors. So he wanted to see those who have come to fight, and especially those who have come to please the evil-minded Duryodhana. So I can stop here. If there's any question or comments, you can please, make a contribution. Go ahead. Any points? You want to ask a question or want to make a comment? Any question? Okay. Sometimes I used to give lectures to our African devotees. They give lectures for 1 hour and then they will ask questions for 1 hour.
You feel happy.
But here everyone knows everything, so no need of questioning.
Prabhu, you have to answer, why was Sañjaya given this opportunity to with a vision from Kṛṣṇa? Because it was given by
Vyasadeva.
Vyasadeva. Huh?
Yeah.
So why was this opportunity given to Sañjaya?
Actually, initially, Vyasadeva wanted to give to Dhritarashtra because Dhritarashtra was blind. But he said, I can let you see what's going on in the battlefield. I can let you see. There is no, I don't. He said, no, I don't want to see that. He said, no, I don't want it. Let my charioteer do that. So he told his charioteer to be given the vision, because he said he doesn't want to see how, his children are being killed. He said he didn't want to see that.
And then it was, I think then it was given to Vidura, and then it was given.
No.
It was not given.
No. It was given to Sañjaya.
Sañjaya was a chariot of
Dhritarashtra, yeah, it was Sañjaya. Sañjaya uvāca. You know that verse? Sañjaya uvāca. You can recite that sloka. No. I'm asking this boy. What is it? Recite the sloka. Yeah. Yeah, that is said. Dhritarashtra said that. Is it? No. Oh, that's Dhritarashtra. The second line was Sañjaya uvāca. That's second line. Second verse. And then the end of it was when Sañjaya said, Yata Yogeshwara Kṛṣṇa, Yata Data Padodana, Tata Vijaya Moti, Dhruvaniti Mati Mama. Okay, you want to? Okay.
I want to ask that.
Take a mic.
1 second.
We have to think of Kṛṣṇa all the time. Like Arjuna is Guḍākeśa because he think of Kṛṣṇa all the time. Being in Kṛṣṇa and in this modern time, how can you just give some light that how can we think of Kṛṣṇa all the time so we can concur, sleep and utilize all the time in Kṛṣṇa consciousness?
Yes, we can if we become devotee of Kṛṣṇa. Because the whole process of Kṛṣṇa consciousness is how to always thinking of Kṛṣṇa 24 hours a day. That's the whole purpose of Kṛṣṇa consciousness. So, of course, the greatest devotees are the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan who came here. They were here 500 years ago because they were sent by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to go and compile the devotional scriptures and also to establish the lost holy places of pilgrimage where Lord Kṛṣṇa performed his pastimes. So the Goswami, they came here and then they were so Kṛṣṇa conscious that always thinking of Kṛṣṇa 24 hours a day. They never forgot Kṛṣṇa. They always think they will go to the forest, every forest, calling out, hey Kṛṣṇa, hey Radhe. That's their whole consciousness. But we have to develop our, consciousness that way. But the way we do that is we begin that by following the simple process of Kṛṣṇa consciousness, like by chanting Kṛṣṇa's name, associate with the devotees, taking Kṛṣṇa prasad. And the most important thing, never consider that there are better people out there than the devotees of Kṛṣṇa. If you're looking for a friend, devotees are the real friend. Not your so-called buddies at schools or all these things. Because sometimes we have this illusion that, devotees are so difficult to deal with. But I have good friends. We can chat together and all these things. But the real friend are the devotees of Kṛṣṇa. These are the real friends. So, by following that process, then eventually we will come to that ultimate stage of always thinking of Kṛṣṇa 24 hours a day. We will come to that ultimate stage. And of course it requires faith, which means your faith has to be strong, and your faith has to be stronger more and more. So the more stronger your faith, the more you will have a deeper understanding of the process of Kṛṣṇa consciousness. Okay? Yeah, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Great class. The question I want to ask in the first one, you read the first verse and purport. At the end of that purport, it says that Arjuna wanted to make an estimate of the strength which he had to face.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering, he knew who was there. He knew all his, he knew his guru was there. He knew his Bhima was there. He knew all those, Shakuni. So why is it in there that he wanted to see the strength that he had to face?
Well, he because this is the whole point of this chapter. This chapter is called Vishada Yoga. Vishada means the lamentation or the dejection that one faces. It's like kind of like a remorse type, whereby Arjuna was feeling in terms of trying to assess the main reason for this fighting, if this fighting is actually necessary, if the fighting was necessary. So that's the whole point of him asking Arjuna that he want to see those who have come to fight. He wanted to assess. And of course, by looking at them, you could see that they all are very, very enthusiastic to fight. They are very, very enthusiastic to fight. By seeing them, so therefore he started expressing the sadness of how all these people have come. They don't know it's like they don't know what they have come to do. They don't know what's the purpose of this fighting. Especially, it's a fighting between family members. It's a fighting between family members. It's not that fighting between one city to another city. This is a family warfare. So this is part of that. So Arjuna was feeling that, okay, let me see, those who have actually assembled. It's like having a second thought. It's like having a second thought. So that's what we're going to be going through when Arjuna started lamenting, saying that this fighting is not good, this and that, trying to convince Kṛṣṇa that we should not fight. I'm not going to fight. I'm just going to go to the forest. All these things. All right. Hare Krishna, how are you?
Hare Krishna.
You getting better? Okay, nice to see you. Okay, thank you very much. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki.